Welcome to Wired Up Retro, episode 27. Today I'm going to share with you something I've discovered about a particular controller that enhances games that are just digital games. You know, games like on the 2600 such as Asteroids, or on the 5200 there are a number of games that were specifically just digital games, not analog. Games like Meteorites. Also on the 7800, there were some games, obviously, that were digital. Asteroids, this 7800 version one comes to mind. And so basically, this controller comes from the PlayStation era. And as you know, if you've watched my channel, I've shown you how to actually take PlayStation era controllers and adapt them to old school consoles. Consoles like the Atari 2600. So let me just go a little bit into the history of the Sony PlayStation just to make sure that we're clear on things. Certain games for the original PlayStation, especially in the early life of that console, were just digital-only games. One example might be the Contra Legacy of War, which is a sequel game to the NES classic Contra game. As you watch, you'll notice that the soldier you're controlling always moves around at the same speed. This is what you expect in a game that has digital controls. But when you play an analog controls game, you can vary the speed of that movement. But definitely this game has him traveling no faster and no slower than the set speed. Now, if you consider the PlayStation games that were designed for analog control, you can see how the gameplay is enhanced with a dual analog controller. Here I'm playing the PlayStation version of Asteroids, and the ship's rate of rotation can be slow or fast by tilting the thumbstick a little or a lot. The advantage of slowing the turning speed down is that it enables a little more fine-tuning of where you're placing your shots. Now today I am showing you a special controller that was made in the mid-90s by the company Mad Catz, which can, with a couple of controller adapters, be made to enhance your pinpoint directional firing on digital games for 80s Atari consoles and computers. We're talking games that in no way, shape, or form had any analog aspect of control. With the flip of a switch, you've brought a new enhancement to your Atari games, including the different versions of Asteroids on your Atari 2600 and 7800, as well as Meteorites on the 5200. This is a first for 80s consoles. If you like changing things up and trying new things, I'll show you how it's done. Back in Wired Up Retro in the early episodes, I think it might have been around episode 3, I introduced an idea of adapting PlayStation original controllers to the Atari 2600. And all you really need to do that is to buy this Tototech controller adapter, which basically converts a Genesis or converts PlayStation controllers to the Sega Genesis. And it's called the Joypad Converter version MD, MD standing for Mega Drive, which is the European name for Sega Genesis. So once you've made that connection, then all you got to do is to buy an adapter made by Best Electronics, which is basically, it's got a peculiar name. I've got it right here. The Sega Genesis Controllers to Atari Systems Adapter Cable. And really all this does is it takes on a 9-pin controller, it swaps pins 5 and 7 so that power can be obtained a little better into your Genesis controllers and also your PlayStation controllers. So you have to buy that and then this, and then you've got PlayStation controller compatibility. So let's go ahead and show you a little bit of Asteroids with the Mad Catz controller. Okay, so notice he goes always at the same pace. let's put it in pulse mode. And you can actually see slower, fast. So it's basically, again, that simulated analog that might actually help you pinpoint your fire a little better in a game like this. I've got a couple other Atari 2600 games that I want to show you as well that might get some extra enhancement with this type of controller. I might actually be having more fun with this than the PlayStation version. It doesn't look anywhere near as good though. All right, on to the other game. So this is a game made by 20th Century Fox called The Earth Dies Screaming. So it's such a dramatic name. Let's play this. Now in this game, I've got it on pulse mode. And again, I think it possibly gets a little bit better control than if it was just all moving at the same speed. At least in theory. Let me get out of there. I'm supposed to watch that radar at the top. There he is. Man, where'd he go? Got him. Okay. Got him. Got him. So again, it's all about pinpointing fire. Slow, fast. It's definitely a new way to control your games. I'm going to show you a couple others. So here on Atari Gravatar, we're going to give the old Mad Catz a try. Oh, this is a really hard game. But yeah, I'm kind of like feathering the throttle a little bit here, which I think is giving me a little bit of extra help. Yeah, it did. Oh. Before I throw this in, I wanted to show this to you. This is the game Space Rocks, which is a homebrew, and it's an enhancement of Asteroids on the Atari 2600. It's, in my opinion, I'd say pretty astounding, the level of graphics that this offers. Again, we're in pulse mode. Faster, slower. Oh, yeah, that didn't work out. Oh. Getting a little bit lucky. Ah, all right. All right, so onto the 5200. Let's take a look at a couple of digital games that get some enhancement from this. All right, we got the 5200 on. Back in one of my earlier episodes of Wired Up Retro, episode 5, I showed you that you could get PlayStation controllers working on the 5200 with something called a Master Play clone. And with the Master Play clone method, you can definitely play your 5200 games with Genesis controllers, and there is a way to get the PlayStation controllers working, again, using this Tototech joypad converter version MD. Now, I've, on the last episode, shown how to put two adapters together, one made by a member at Atari Age, Bohoki, and that's a PC to Atari 5200 15-pin connector adapter. And then we've also got connected to that, at the moment, an adapter made by an eBayer who goes by the name Icons GR74, IKONS GR74, and he makes a Atari 2600 or Amiga computer to a PC 15-pin controller adapter. So if you connect those two together and then add on the best electronics adapter that I had mentioned just a minute ago, and add to that this joypad converter version MD, you now have PlayStation compatibility. So let's take a look at Meteorites and we'll see what we can do to play that game. Uh-oh. Next game. All right, let's play a little Star Trek. Okay, we'll take it in digital mode. Over to Pulse. It's harder to tell that it's varying on this one. You can kind of tell. It's just a gentle movement there. Get over here. All right, we're ready to play Wizard of Wor. One thing I have learned about this particular game is that, number one, those two adapters that I had told you about in our last episode, not compatible with Wizard of Wor. You got the guy going the wrong direction sometimes. So I took those two adapters out, and also the Best Electronics adapter, replaced all that with this Master Play clone, and then just directly plug that Tototech PlayStation to Genesis controller adapter into that, and we've got compatibility. So I'm getting ready to show you what Pulse mode is about. The other thing I've learned is that if you have it in digital mode and it's playing just fine, and then you switch the switch during the gameplay to Pulse, the game then doesn't control properly. So you have to actually, when you turn, you have to have Pulse on when you turn the system on, and then it will work properly. So I'll show you a properly working Wizard of Wor game on the 5200 here. All right. So when it's in Pulse, you can go very, very slow. and then you can go quick. So it allows for a full range of motion. And then one thing I've learned is you've got to get it so that you're going exactly left and exactly right. Crap. All right, tough game. Okay, so there's your Atari 5200 compatible with the Mad Catz flight stick, and I'm going to go ahead and close that down. All right, so this basically wraps up our episode. You know what this kind of reminds me of? This kind of controller enhancement reminds me of this fire control made by Point Master. This is a little 9-pin connector that you put in your Atari 2600 controller into, and it allows you to speed up your rate of fire, so you get rapid fire. And, you know, it's kind of a game changer. It's something to try if you're kind of bored with your game. I really enjoy this controller and having this plugged in for the game Empire Strikes Back, you know, the Star Wars game for the 2600. It's definitely going to enable your ship to just pour out the bullets very quickly. And, you know, it's obviously, if you're in a competition, you're not going to be able to use that. They would say, oh, that's cheating. So just be aware of that. Also, yeah, this is also a controller enhancer, and it's definitely a unique type of way to play your games. There's so many Atari 5200 and 2600 games that can benefit from this. You know, games like maybe Burger Time for the 2600 might benefit. Mountain King, you know, games where you have characters that are moving around like in Wizard of Wor can be good. I wouldn't mess with Pac-Man or Ms. Pac-Man with that, or Pac-Man Jr., but, you know, I'm thinking maybe Laser Gates, possibly. I don't know, maybe also Defender. I haven't really tried that as of yet, but it'd be an interesting thing to try. Just, you know, experimenting around, that's what makes gaming fun. So anyway, this is our episode, and our next episode is going to be even a grander episode, and I'm expecting a lot of fellow ColecoVision fans to be enjoying our next episode. I'm really not going to tell you anything else, but it does have to do with controllers, and it's actually a pretty exciting new discovery. So stay tuned, and definitely give us a thumbs up, and give us a comment below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I definitely am looking forward to breaking into the 400 subscribers club. Right now we just broke into the 300 subscribers club, so thanks to every last one of you who subscribed up to the wonderful ending of 300. So very cool. All right, we'll talk to you very soon. It shouldn't be but maybe another week, and we'll have another video up soon. All right, take care.